When you diffuse America's much maligned vaccine rollout from politics, it's an unprecedented success, an American miracle. But alas, partisan gamesmanship has prevented the accolades that everyone involved deserves. Democrats will tell you that President Biden basically had to start from scratch because Trump didn't have a coherent plan for the vaccines.
We learned this morning that the Trump administration had no real plan for the production and distribution of the vaccine.
And Republicans accuse Biden of deceitfully taking credit for the entire vaccination plan that Trump had already started.
Just as President Biden has desperately tried to take credit for the incredible, truly historic work President Trump did to ensure that we have vaccines going into the arms to save lives.
We are so divided in this country, so deep in the dogma of our political tribes, that we can't see the obvious. That both men deserve credit for helping to facilitate a modern-day medical miracle. The American government deserves credit for its tenacious cohesiveness in competently dealing with an historic health disaster despite an ugly presidential campaign and an even uglier and bitter transition of power. As of April 28th, the United States has administered 235 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, and almost 100 million Americans have been fully vaccinated. That leads the world. We are distributing the vaccine 3 times faster than Europe and 5 times faster than Canada. If President Biden's aggressive plan to vaccinate every willing America by July comes to fruition, we will cross the finish line far ahead of the rest of the world. And there's no reason to believe that that won't happen because he has been ahead of schedule so far.
After I promised we'd get 100 million COVID-19 vaccine shots into people's arms in 100 days, we will have provided over 220 million COVID shots in those 100 days.
That's wonderful. And the Biden administration does deserve a lot of credit, but he would not have reached those goals without the Trump administration, and it deserves credit too. America's vaccination plan started on May 15th, 2020 with the advent of Operation Warp Speed. That happened almost 9 months before Joe Biden was sworn into office as president. With Operation Warp Speed, the Trump administration secured 1 billion doses of the COVID-19 vaccines from 6 different companies because they weren't certain which vaccine would be ready first. It was Pfizer that finished first. And because of some bureaucratic walls that the Trump administration knocked down, it got emergency use authorization from the FDA in mid-December. The Trump administration then purchased another 100 million doses from Pfizer and started vaccinations immediately. When Joe Biden was sworn into office, 900,000 Americans a day were already being vaccinated. Now, the Biden administration did accelerate the program, and at one point in early April, they were vaccinating 3.4 million Americans a day. But the vast majority of those vaccinations were purchased by the Trump administration. Again, a truly miraculous American achievement that the transfer of power not only did not disrupt, but accelerated the inoculation of the country. So why can't both men share the credit? It gets to be embarrassing. Biden went as far as to tell Anderson Cooper at a CNN town hall that when he took over, there were no vaccines.
When you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator.
It was such a strange thing to claim, especially since President-elect Joe Biden received his first vaccination on December 21st in Wilmington, Delaware, when Donald Trump was still president. And back then, he even gave the Trump administration credit.
The administration deserves some credit getting this off the ground. Operation Warp Speed.
It's important to point out that he said that after the presidential campaign was over and before he was sworn into office, when political rivalry didn't infect his choice of words. Biden hasn't said anything similar since getting the vaccination on that day. In fact, he's criticized Donald Trump, and I don't think Donald Trump has ever said a kind word about Joe Biden. And it's a shame, isn't it? Because they could do so much good together. For the first time since the vaccinations have been made available, there has been a sharp drop in the vaccination rate from 3.4 million vaccinations a day to 2.7 million vaccinations a day. And only 30% of the American adult population has been fully vaccinated. It would be a perfect time for Trump and Biden to appear together and encourage people to get vaccinated. That would put an exclamation point on what so far has been a reluctantly bipartisan American miracle. I'm Larry Menti. We'll talk again soon.